Chapter, we are going to talk about the most common interview questions as far as algorithms related problems are concerned. So the most common interview question has something to do with palindrome. So if we take a look at palindrome on Wikipedia, we can come to the conclusion that a palindrome is a word, phrase, number, or other sequence of characters which reads the same backward and forward, such as madam, for example, or was it a car or a cat I saw. If you read it backwards, you are going to end up with the same characters as you read it forward. Okay, so this is a palindrome, and we are going to talk about how to check whether a given string is a palindrome or not. So basically there are two approaches. The first approach is quite straightforward. Okay, so in the first approach, we are going to have an original string, such as hello, for example, and the given string consists of given characters. In this case, we have the character H, character E, character L, and character O, and it is going to be the string hello. Okay, we just have to generate the reverse string. What is the reverse string? We are going to iterate through and going to consider every single character in a reversed order. So we start at the last character, and it is going to be the first character in the reverse string. Okay, then we consider the next character, which is the L, and it's going to be the next character in the reverse string, and so on. So we are going to iterate through in a reversed order as far as the original string is concerned. This is how we will generate the reverse string. And what do we have to do? We just have to compare whether the two strings are the same or not. Of course, these characters are not matching at the beginning, so we can come to the conclusion that this hello string is not a palindrome. Okay, so as far as the implementation is concerned, it is quite straightforward. We have the as original string, we get the length of the string. We can get the length of the string in ortho 1 constant time complexity, by the way. Okay, then we have to iterate through and consider every single character in the original string. Of course, we are going to consider it in a reverse order. So the reverse string is going to be the reverse string. We just have to append a given character on every iteration and the character of the original string as far as this index is concerned. So length minus I minus 1. Minus 1 because indices starts with 0, and minus I because we are going to iterate through all of the characters in the original string in a reversed order. So when I is equals to 0, it is going to be the last character. When I is equals to 1 in the next iteration, we are going to consider the character before the last one. If I is equals to 2, we are going to consider the next character. So basically this is how we are going to get the reverse string. Okay, and finally we just have to check whether the original string S and the reverse string are the same or not. If they are the same, we return true, anyways we return false. So we can check that UU is a palindrome, so we should get true. Okay, but for example, something like this is not going to be a palindrome, so we return false. For example, we can check on the madam word because madam is a palindrome. So if we run it, we should get true, and as you can see, the returned value is true. Okay, so it is working fine. Let's consider the next approach. It is a bit more elegant as far as I am concerned. So we have a given string S. We are going to generate 3 indices I, J, and K, and we just have to make a simple for loop. Okay, so let's consider this situation that we have a given string, madam, there's 5 characters, we are going to use 3 indices. I is going to point to the first character in the string, K is going to point to the middle character in the string, and J is going to point to the last character in the string. Why is it good? Because we just have to increment the I index until I is equals to K, What does it mean? That we have considered these characters m and a, and we just have to compare the values present at index I and index j. So in this case, for example, we are going to compare the character associated with index I and the last character associated with index j. If they are the same, we are going to consider the next characters, a and a. And if we have considered all the characters on the left side of the k index, it means that it is a palindrome, because all of these characters are matching. Okay, for example, in this case, this madam word is a palindrome. So the I is going to point to the first character, so that's why it is the index 0. J is going to point to the last character, so s.length -1 because indices starts with 0. And the k is going to point to the middle character, so I plus j divided by 2. We are going to make as many iterations as the number of characters in the string divided by 2. Okay, so basically the index is equals to I, and we keep incrementing the index until the index is not going to be smaller or equal than k. So it means that we are going to make as many iterations as the number of characters in S divided by 2. Okay, because k is equals to the first index plus last index divided by 2. Okay. If the two characters are matching, so the character at index I and character at index j, this is what we have been discussing, that in the first iteration, it is pointing to the first character and j is pointing to the last character. We just have to check whether they are matching. If yes, then we keep incrementing I and keep decrementing j. So that's why we increment I, we decrement j. If the two characters are not matching, we return false because we know that it is not a palindrome. And basically this is why it is a better approach, a faster approach than palindrome 1, because if S is not a palindrome, we are going to consider all the characters in S, no matter it is a palindrome or not. On the other hand, palindrome 2 method is going to consider the optimal amount of characters in the original string. So this is why it is a faster and better approach. So we just have to compare the characters and increment I and decrement j until the index, which is initialized to be the I at the beginning, is smaller or equal than k. So let's see whether it's working fine or not. Palindrome 2 on madam. Okay, it is true. If we use, for example, something like this, it is not a palindrome, so we return false. Okay, it is working fine. It is a simple solution, but not that efficient. It is more efficient. Okay, it is a bit more complex, but I guess it's quite easy to implement. Thanks for watching.